So right now at 5, we're learning new details about the 2 juveniles charged with shooting and killing 2 other people outside a Waterbury nightclub.
And your reporter Owen Kingsley is live with more on what led up to this shooting. Owen.
Well, guys, we were the only TV news station who was inside Superior Court earlier today when we learned that the victims of this shooting were random bystanders. They were standing in a crowd when 2 teens allegedly opened fire. A lot of tear-filled eyes inside that courtroom earlier today from the families of both the victims and the suspects. On Friday, police arrested 17-year-old Dorian Glenn of New Britain and 17-year-old DeAndre Weaver of West Hartford. Both face 2 counts of murder, among other charges. Police say over July 4th weekend, right outside the now former LA 42 nightclub on East Main Street, Glenn and Weaver shot and killed 22-year-old Trayvon Dunbar and 18-year-old Zanaya Dawkins. State prosecutors say they have video showing both teens going into the club and walking out. Then their car pulls a U-turn before they both take guns out and start firing into a crowd of people. Prosecutors say Glenn even admitted to the shooting and called both teens an extreme danger to society. Their defense attorney argued that neither of them has a previous criminal record. Police found a cell phone at the scene and 2 guns through a search warrant.
Pleased now that the club will be closed for a while and we can kind of stabilize that neighborhood and try to have a better understanding of what more services we could provide in that particular area of the city.
Chief Spagnolo added there was some sort of confrontation inside the nightclub before this shooting happened. Now, coming up in the next hour at 6 o'clock, we're going to talk a little bit more about the nightclub's involvement in this investigation and why exactly 2 17-year-olds were allowed inside a 21 and older establishment. The reporter, live in Waterbury, I'm Owen Kingsley, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
We'll see you then, Owen. Thank you very much.